I was trying to build a life that people could validate and approve. And in doing that, I really lost myself and I really lost my grounding. And I really realized that I wasn't living. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Goode Soil. Thank you for tuning in again and continuing on this journey of wisdom and insight and hopefully laughter and joy with me. Today, I am not answering a question per se. I am just going to speak from sort of what has been on my heart and what I've been experiencing in my own life and what I see around me. And that is this idea of slowing down, or this idea of needing to slow down. The world is so fast and so chaotic and so crazy, and we hear this all the time, but social media is so jam-packed full of content and people always talking and giving their opinions, and people like me sharing their advice online, and there's just a lot of noise in the world, and it can get really overwhelming, and it can get really there can be a lot of pressure with seeing this output of, content and this output of products and services and information. And it can always feel like you're trying to keep up. At least I'll speak for myself. It always feels like I'm trying to keep up with this never ending engine of creation and productivity and success and hustling and going after things. And I think there's something really beautiful about that. There's something really beautiful about content creation and creation in general and creativity and output. But I think sometimes it can get really overwhelming, especially in my life. I feel like I get overwhelmed and start comparing myself and start feeling like I'm not doing enough in my own life and that I'm not striving enough and that I'm a failure if I, don't have a big platform or a ton of followers or a ton of likes on my posts and people aren't, coming, calling my name and seeking me out. It can get really overwhelming and really hard to find joy in the little things. Everything feels like you just have to wake up and you have to open your laptop and get grinding and get typing and get creating and, or you have to be networking all the time and get out there and meeting people and, again, there's nothing wrong with that. And there is, something to that, something to people who get out and go and go and go. But it's taken me a while, taken me about 29 years now, to get to a point where I've really started reevaluating my life and what I need and what I want my life to look like. And while I, do desire success and I do desire stability, financial stability, generational wealth, I want to take care of my family. I want to take care of myself. I want to pay my debt off my debt and my credit cards. I want to be able to, eat good food when I want to. I want to be able to help others and, I want to be able to have impact in a big way. But I think as I've grown and matured, both in my adulthood and into my life and also in my faith, I've learned that there really is something to slowing down. There really is something to getting grounded, taking a step back, taking a moment to take a deep breath and to get centered again and to, look at your stress and look at your anxiety and look at the things that are constantly running over and over in your mind. Am I doing enough? Am I enough? Am I successful enough? Am I, creative enough? Am I, a good this, and this? And it can get really overwhelming and stressful. And the next thing we know, we look up and we're sick and we have, our bodies reacting to the stress and our check engine lights on, or we, are isolating and we haven't made fruitful connections, or we're, only using the people around us for what we can get. And we're not having meaningful conversations and we're not checking in with each other and we're not being kind to ourselves and compassionate and loving with ourselves. We're not taking moments to just go outside and be in nature and connect to, the beautiful, rich world just right outside of our doors. And we're not taking a moment to just breathe and relax and kind of sink into the moment that we're in. We're always looking to the future, we're always looking in the past, and we're always looking how to maximize the moment, when in reality sometimes it's important to minimize the moment and to sit in the grass and sit in the sun and open a book that has no way of bettering your life. It is just a cheap, stupid little book that, takes your mind off something for a little while, or it's an amazing book that has nothing to do with your career or has nothing to do with, helping and improving yourself. It's just something that brings you joy, or listening to a song that brings you joy, or going for a walk or a run, or having a really meaningful conversation with a friend who really gets you and sees you and understands you and supports you. And so I, in my own life, have really just been trying to get back to that place of, what does Brittany need? What actually fulfills Brittany's heart and spirit and soul? And what has she been putting in that place or thinking that she needs that doesn't actually feed her soul? And when I really ask myself, these questions and get honest with myself, some of my needs really are like, I need to rest and be, kind of lazy, quote unquote, what they call sitting on the couch lazy. I need to watch TV. I need to, watch a dumb rom-com that makes me laugh and makes me believe in love. I need to go on walks. I need to, have moments with friends that are where I can be vulnerable, or they can be vulnerable with me. I need to write and not put it out. I need to create and not have it mean anything or go anywhere or pay my bills. I need to drink more water. I need to sit on the grass and be in the sunshine. I need to see a hummingbird. These are the things that I need. And I think these are the things that we minimize in life because they're small and they're, they take intentionality, and they take time. And when time, we really make time you got to maximize it. Time is of the essence. And sometimes time really is on our side, and time does want us to slow down and to sink into it and to cherish it and to be in the moment and to be in the present. And that is really why I started my coaching business, a few years ago in the first place, was because I was really struggling with, low self-esteem, and I was struggling with just suffering. I was just always felt like I was in this state of suffering. My body was always just in this heightened state of fight or flight, and I was afraid of everything, and everything felt tense, and I was people pleasing, and I didn't feel valuable, and just I was trying to build a life that people could validate and approve. And in doing that, I really lost myself, and I really lost my grounding, and I really realized that I wasn't living. I wasn't joyful. I wasn't peaceful. There were moments, obviously, but it wasn't really the life that I wanted. It was the life that I thought I wanted, or the life that I thought I needed, or the life that my fear said I needed. When in reality, Brittany loves sitting on a porch in the sun, drinking, water or tea and meditating, or looking at the trees. In my family home in Texas, we have a backyard that overlooks all of this wooded area, and I love just sitting and looking and seeing new birds and watching the trees blow in the wind and just listening to the sounds of nature around me. And I love that. And a previous version of me wouldn't allow myself to have that because it doesn't seem on the outside all that productive. It seems like I'm just wasting time. But when you really get still and you really slow down and you really get intentional about the moment you're in, whether that's, with a friend, whether you're in a conversation with someone, or whether you're alone and you're meditating and you like me are out in nature and enjoying just the free stuff of life, the stuff that you can kind of just get by going and seeking it out. There's something just really beautiful about that, something really grounding about that. And I think we don't appreciate that enough in a really meaningful way. We all kind of talk about it and we all know this, but we don't really practice it in a way that isn't for social media or in a way that isn't for likes and clicks. And I think if we all really got back to figuring out what we truly, really want inside of ourselves and what our spirit wants and what our needs want, I think it's to slow down. I think we all want to collectively slow down. And I think that's one of the beautiful things that came out of the pandemic was we were all forced to slow down. And in that slowing down, I think that was sort of the first wave of slowing down, which is self-reflection and figuring that out of what we want and what we need and how we can craft our life around a slowdown. And that can be really painful at first, and it can be really confusing at first, and it can be really sort of uncomfortable and stressful at first when we are so used to being, active and moving and everything is fast paced. But I think if we continue again to practice these things, it becomes comfortable, it becomes our new normal, and it doesn't feel so weird to sit down and meditate for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. It doesn't feel unproductive to read a good book. It doesn't feel unproductive to, take a slow morning and not immediately get on your phone when you wake up and not immediately open your laptop and start clicking away at emails as the first start of the day. Like maybe you sit down and pray. Maybe you, make a really good cup of coffee and smell it and savor it and just sit there with your cup of coffee thinking or writing in your journal. Like I truly believe that slowing down is just one of the best things that we as a society can do and the best things that we as individuals can do. And I really believe we do show up in our relationships and in our businesses and in our in our lives better and fuller and more at peace and more at joy when we do take these moments of intentionality and we take these moments to slow down. And that's really why I started this. That's really what Goode Soil is about. And that's really what my intention behind coaching was initially, was to really help people find that peace and that joy and that in the slowdown, and realizing that you don't have to feel shame in slowing down, and you don't have to feel guilt in slowing down, and you don't have to feel those things. You don't have to suffer for wanting things that are different than what people tell you you should want or what society tells you you should want, while also, tackling self-esteem and confidence and negative thoughts and all the things that come with sort of the drivers behind, I think, a lot of our stress, and the drivers behind us pushing ourselves to the limit and feeling like we need to please others and feeling like we need to show up perfect and prim and proper in every space so that people don't judge us or deem us failures or embarrass us and make us look, and point out our flaws. Like, I really do think being messy and being kind to ourselves and slowing down are the ingredients to a healthy, happy, joyful, peaceful life. And I go through these cycles where I remember that and I know that and I practice that. And then sometimes I get back in the loop, back in the hamster wheel, back in the cycle of hustle, hustle, hustle. Got to do this. I'm not doing enough. I got to maximize all of my talents. I've got to do this and this and this. I've got to tell people what I'm doing. I got to network. I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm behind. I'm ahead. Oh, no, I'm behind. All of that can really just cause stress and manifest itself in really negative ways sometimes, especially in our bodies. People are having more GI issues. I'm one of them. People are having more mental health issues. People were breaking down, and we're not sustaining lives that are sustainable. We're not maintaining or creating lives that are sustainable. And that is really what I want to help people do, is create lives that are sustainable and joyful and good, using what they already have, the good soil that they have, the good ingredients that they have, and getting back to basics and finding that balance within, who you are and who you're meant to be and what you feel like you're here to do, while also understanding that you really are just here to be you, to grow into being you, to being all God created you to be. And that's really just what I wanted to come on today to talk about. I think it's a needed message. I needed to hear it. I needed to experience it. And I feel like God has really reminded me of that in the last few weeks, of just, this is who you are, Brittany, and this is okay to be this way. It's okay to be different and to kind of go against the grain of what everyone else is doing. But I think a lot more people want to be this way as well and are looking for permission to maybe do that. And if you're looking for permission, this is your permission. Not that you need it. If you're looking for a sign, this is your sign to slow down and take a deep breath and get back to the basics of what you want and need in your life, and to do that unashamed and guilt-free, and to not worry about what other people have to say about that. And that takes time, that takes practice, that takes cycles and unlearning and unconditioning. But if you need support, you can always ask me and work with me. I'm happy to help and have conversations with you about that. But that is what today is about. So thank you for listening as always. We'll get back to questions again, but yeah. All right. I love you. You are good soil. Have a great day. Okay. Bye. Thank you for watching another episode of Good Soil. If you liked this video, be sure to share it with friends and family because we could all use a little reminding that we are good soil. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel and follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.